Pillar 1 is the path of self-realization. Pillar 2, liberating the personality. Pillar 3, soul liberation. And Pillar 4, spirit liberation. So we will overview these 4 pillars so that we can bring a greater understanding of the work that we do here together. So the pillar 1, the path of self-realization to full consciousness, the natural state, the sahaja samadhi, the levels of consciousness, how that is a direct pathway towards the natural state. As we have been meeting with you throughout these years, step by step, guiding you towards your next level of realization, bringing you closer and closer to the most deepest and yet so direct presence of the absolute nature of who you truly are. Sahaja Samadhi is established in knowledge of the self. This knowledge does not come from any idealizations. It does not come from the intellectual understanding or even the experiences that come and go. It is already here. It has always been here. It has never moved. It has never changed. But because of the state of ignorance, we have overlooked our nature, our natural state. Ignorance is perceived through the lens of ignorance when one may look upon oneself as I am a man, or I'm a woman, or as this agent of limited actions, and this constant bondage of the experiencer with all the joys and all the pains, with all the ups and all the downs, with all the misidentifications of who we are. Out of ignorance, we have overlooked our absolute nature. Once you know your own true nature, you do not get involved in ignorance anymore because you see right through ignorance. You see right through the misidentifications because at this state, you have already found your way back to the absolute nature. So this is where and how one experiences the self as being absolutely here in this world, in this life, in this body, but yet with a very, very big difference that you are not bound, you are not identified anymore with all the grades and degrees of limitations of who you think you are. And to gauge that within you, just look at your sufferings. Because all the sufferings that you experience are there, exactly that, showing you what you are misidentifying yourself with, what you are mistaken of who you are. Thus, within that in itself, one experiences immediate suffering. That's the only reason you experience suffering. So, in a way, suffering is a gift of grace because Through the suffering, one has an opportunity to unwind that fixation and realize one's nature beyond that misidentification. At Divine Marga, we have laid out the steps and clarified the navigation back to the self. We have shown that full self realization is possible in this lifetime, regardless of your background, of your religion, societal conditionings, or sex, even. So it is possible to attain full consciousness in a matter of few years with an integrated and balanced approach. However, if there is inconsistency, it may take maybe a decade or even a lifetime, or maybe, who knows, a few more next lifetimes too. When we know that this is available, the pathway is illuminated, the navigation through the labyrinth is exposed, with certain dedication, with certain consistency. One can easily, very easily, in a very balanced and integral way, return to your natural state. Now we come to the second pillar, liberating the personality from the destructive psychology into harmony and balance. In majority of humanity, what holds them back is this destructive psychology, because one places upon himself a lot of limitations, self-sabotage, self-victimhood, and literally a person is held by his own imprisonment. So by identifying the psychological and emotional defenses specific to your type, the Enneagram creates opportunities for profound personal growth and healing. Here we focus on liberating the personality beyond fixations. These fixations are what holds us down. And once we become aware of these fixations, then awareness, it heals it, it liberates it. You go beyond it, you transcend it, you polish it through, you liberate your personality. Enneagram allows us to see past and false identifications. The great gift of the essence of Enneagram is that it gives us the precise structure on how to unwind the knot of ego. And awareness is the key. And the Enneagram shows us the knot that needs to be dismantled. How many times have you supported your own limitations, subscribed, sustained your own limitations several times? So Enneagram supports what has been unexamined to be seen, to bring that into awareness. These behaviors, certain feelings, certain thoughts, the psyche. Here is where many problems do surface up. If you will negate your personality or just dismiss it because I am not that, this is not the right approach. You can negate it as much as you like, but the reality is that your personality is here, and you also need to transcend all these limitations so that even your personality can reach its utmost, most unique, perfect expression of your personality type. You start recognizing the patterns of fixation. Pillar 3 is soul liberation. Here we move from the entrapment, the bondage of the soul, into liberation, into the freedom, the liberation, that when the soul is returning fully back to its home in divine nature, when the soul is not trapped by these chains of karmas, causes and effects, then the soul is free now, is liberated now, and can choose at its own will what to do, where to go, where to stay. So ties, they have to be snapped from the entanglements of the soul with all creation. All creation. So creation begins at the Premananda region, all the way down, Pinda, Anda, all the way down here. You can only even try to imagine all the attachments and all the traces of connections and entrapments the soul has accumulated over the years. In Sant Mat, soul and spirit liberation refers to the ultimate goal of achieving union with the divine by practicing meditation techniques that allow the soul to transcend its physical limitations and reach the state of the Shabd, inner sound, inner light, which in our terms, it is called the divine light and sound stream. So ultimately leading to liberation from the cycle of rebirth and achieving a state of eternal bliss. This liberation is considered to be possible through the guidance of a living master. Meher Baba describes that good actions bind a man with a golden chain, and bad actions with iron and spiked chains. But the chain is there in either case. The man has not been set free. Yoga or other studies are good actions, and they give the person a better chance in their next incarnation. But they do not set him free or even give liberation. To have liberation, one must neither have virtue nor vice on one's credit or debit side, but it should be a clean slate to reach the state of moksha. He further continues describing, no yogi can attain eternal freedom even though he might have reached the highest yogic state of samadhi through his practices, because sanskaras are still there, and all ties have not yet been snapped. So here he is describing the attachments of the soul. He is saying so clearly and loudly that work on the soul is necessary to attain that ultimate freedom. In Sikhism, soul liberation, known as mukti, means the spiritual freedom and the liberation from the cycle of rebirth. It is achieved by living a life aligned with God's will and attaining a deep connection with the divine through the practices of Simran, of the Nam, and also in Sikhism, another big part is selfless service. So now we come to the fourth pillar, which is the spirit liberation. And here we move from the impurity into the pure, untainted love of the Spirit. Here we focus on healing and unblocking the accumulated karma from the channel of the Spirit to return to the immense love and purity of the liberated spirit. Now, the liberated spirit is the spirit that is free and one in divine and one with God. Your spirit dwells in your true spiritual heart, the heart on the right, also called Amrita Nadi. Your spirit is full of love and virtues, and it seeks to reunite with the divine beloved. The spirit is the primal essence from which all universes were created. It is the foundation of spirituality. It is known as the Holy Spirit in Christianity. In Sikhism, it is known as the Shabd Nam. The Spirit can be seen as the love of God in action. In Divine Marga, when a student is mature enough and now has opened up into the first divine region, which is called divine love, here is where one would receive a unique mantra, a soul seed mantra. And this is unique. It's only for you. It comes from you. It's the sound that is translated from your soul that is supportive to the liberation of the soul. And at this stage, it is when then you begin to incorporate these two pillars of liberation of soul and liberation of the spirit. With the second pillar of the psychology and personality liberation, this is the most effective when one opens up into presence consciousness. Because when one opens to presence, one is already having a certain maturity, certain depth, certain presence, tapping into the lower causal body, the lower unconsciousness. And it's already, once you begin to familiarize with your type, your personality type, from the level of presence, let's say, much more effective work takes place. So that's from presence. And the pillar of the spirit, 3 and 4, and the soul, that starts from the divine. So altogether, these 4 pillars, and it brings such an integral approach to liberate from all these aspects. Altogether, this brings the ultimate liberation.